I can't wait for my hair to grow out so I am no longer rocking this whole Lady and the Tramp nonsense. But today we are here to do a tour of Sketchbook 16, which I just finished. If you didn't see the video where I finished this, I will link it at the end. This sketchbook took me 6-7 months. I started in December 12th, and I ended it on June 12th. So 6-7 months. I can't do math. Don't ask me to do math. I'm too pretty to do math. This sketchbook is by Greenfield. It's hemp paper, so you'll see some speckling on the pages, and that's what that is. Let's just get into it. Let's just get into it. I already recorded this, by the way, but I didn't like it, so we're gonna do it again, but better. Also, isn't my t-shirt cool? This is by Mixed Adventures of Etta. Oh, yeah, logo's right there. Oop, you can't see that. Okay, so Sketchbook 16. I drew this sticker myself. It's unfortunate that it has these marks on it. They were not there for 90% of this, and then right at the end it got all these smudges on it. So, whatever. We've got this by Etta, the same person who did the shirt. This is by Wormwares. This is from some nerdy tech bullshit that my boyfriend got, and I just thought it was funny to put it on a sketchbook. We've got Sketchbook 16 written in entirely too many places. I did this in a video. I really like how it turned out. I think it's really pretty, but there's also not a lot to say about it. It's just Art Nouveau inspired poppies. I do think it would be cool to redo this sometime in a more polished way because the concept and the design is actually really cool and the colors chosen, but it's rough, you know, it's for a sketchbook. It's kind of rough. Did I even realize at the time that I didn't do these symmetrically? I don't remember if I noticed that at the time. Ugh. Okay. Other stickers, these are from Rice Candy. You know, the Botan Rice Candy boxes, they come with stickers. So that's those guys. This is from some guitar strings my boyfriend ordered. He was just going to throw it away, but I thought this sticker was really cool. And then this is a vintage cat sticker that we found in the trash. This is from a gallery show I went to at the Jeanette Best Gallery. They used this for all the promotional stuff, but I personally think it was like my least favorite of all of them. Not because it was bad, just because all the other ones were so much better. This one is really cool, and I think a lot of people, it's their favorite because the longer you look at it, the more stuff you find in there to see. But genuinely, I think so many other paintings there were so much more effective as like a cohesive piece. But it's by Shauna Marie Franklin, obviously. You can read that. These are just swatches. I was going through my pencil bag and trying to decide what to keep and what to get rid of in that. Not like literally get rid of, but just curating what's in my pencil bag every day. Swatches for a painting here. Swatching, continuing these swatches over here. Doodles about vague sewing ideas. I actually did do these pants. These were potential thumbnail ideas for my gallery show. I didn't actually end up using any of them. I was just like, okay, what if I need a new idea? What if I decide I don't like my old ideas? Let's brainstorm a little bit more. I didn't end up using any of these. Some of them I think are okay. I don't think they're terrible concepts. I really like, I do like that one. Vague notes to self, some doodles to fill in space. This, I was thinking about Christmas, because this is December 19th over here, so it was like right before Christmas. This was a Christmas gift I bought someone, and I just thought it was cool. Found it at like Goodwill on a total accident. I wasn't looking for stuff like that. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and it was an incredible price and like brand new, so that was awesome. This page, I drew something completely different on it, and I thought I liked it, and then I came back to it a week later, and I was like, this is just a waste of paper. This is so ugly. So I painted over everything I didn't like. I kept the stuff I did like. Like, I liked these pomegranates a lot. I liked the dog. This is like Cerberus, I guess, as some kind of black and white spotted dog, but I think he's really cute. And then everything else I painted over because I was like, that's just really bad. I was having trouble painting over some of it, so I actually ended up sticking down Post-it notes over those because I think the ink was bleeding through the gouache, maybe. So I put those down to help actually, like, totally cover it up. Not to say that what I did later was particularly great, but at least I don't hate it. It was bad. A note to self, some persimmons. I came back to this like a million times and kept going over it and adding to it. I don't really know why, but it is what it is. I had an idea for a New Year's Eve, like, greeting card, you know, like a holiday card. And I like this one. I think it's really cute. This is a, like, Thanatos-inspired design, so I was re-listening to Percy Jackson and then the Heroes of Olympus series just because I needed something really long to listen to that I already knew I liked and that I didn't have to listen to too hard because I was really trying to get stuff done at that point and I just needed background noise, really. So I decided to look into what some of his actual symbolism was, and so I drew him like this. So from what I gather from this, he's typically depicted with like an upside down torch and butterflies, and I think a staff was actually part of it, but I might have just added that to make for a more interesting pose. This is probably the coolest thing I've ever drawn. I don't tend to draw like cool things, so this is pretty cool for me. I actually quite like it. Everyone who opens this sketchbook likes it. It's pretty awesome, I've got to admit. I'd love to revisit it sometime and make like a really polished version of it because, yeah. And I like the pose of the cowboy. Everything is like really dynamic. Lots and lots of color swatching for a painting. You can kind of see me like loosely thumbnailing it up here. I can't remember what I named this painting. Whoops. I named it last minute. I got some new colored pencils, and so I swatched them here. Lots of really nice colors. I got one called Sea Fog, entirely based off of its name, and I don't regret it at all because it's absolutely beautiful. I sketched the view out of my studio door into our living room and our Christmas tree, and I only colored in the Christmas tree lights, and I think that was really, really cool. I think it's a really fun concept. I did sketch this straight in pen with no pencil, so the perspective is not perfect, but I think it's pretty good considering that's what I was doing. This is an imagination landscape. I do those by taking leftover watercolors from my palette and just kind of putting them on the page however I want. This is a more structured one where I separated the colors. I had a vague idea initially, but actually generally I prefer to just put all the colors down randomly, all mixed together, and then use whatever blobs and shapes happen to inspire me to make a landscape. But I do still like this one. It's fun. It's fun. And I did some gold Sharpie later. This is a lot of random stuff. I don't like any of these, but at the same time I like this page. I think the page itself is kind of dynamic and fun, but I don't like any of these sketches. I like these ones though. A little lighthouse that I then colored in with crayon. This is my mug that I use every single day. Let's see, there's water in it. There you go. My boyfriend made that for me in like high school art class. I went to a gallery show and there was an alligator. There were lots of paintings with like open views into things' stomachs, and you could see like scenes inside of them, and one of the scenes had a person. I think that kind of helped to inspire this. But it is very different. I really like it. I really like it. I'd like to come back to this and actually paint it because it's so weird, but it's so fun. Yeah, I'd like to make this one at some point. I really wanted to draw fish, so I drew some fish. I really like them. I think they're super cute. Not much else to say though. It was just like an afternoon. I sat down, I did some fish, and I was done with it. No deep thought or anything. Random notes. about random things. A single thumbnail. I was experimenting with layering watered down acrylics over some paper for my miniature project. This is the paper I'm going to use for the wallpaper. And I just think that the gold is a little too bright and new looking. So I was trying different colors of red acrylic to sort of tone it down and age it a little bit without desaturating the red too much. Like, obviously it desaturated it, but not the way like a brown would. I didn't want it to look like there was dirt on top of the gold. I wanted it to look like the gold was rubbing off of the red paper. So that's what I was more so hoping to achieve. I think I drew this on Christmas Day. I'm pretty sure I drew this at my boyfriend's grandma's house on Christmas. That's the original face. I'll admit I did a better job on the sticky note one. I think this one is closer in size. But that's that. I did this one later. I left this page blank. Wait, I didn't leave it blank. I covered it in swatches, and then later I came over and I went over it with gouache, I think. And then I did this on top of it, so you can see swatches peeking through. And this is entirely based on the fact that I think Dandelion is a great My Little Pony name. I collect the third generation of My Little Ponies, the plastic toys, and I collect them just because I think they're an incredible toy design. I think the people behind the individual designs of the ponies really did a thoughtful job. They're just really elegantly designed, and they have a lot of creativity with colors and within the limitations of that design and of it being a mass-manufactured toy. So I just think they're really, really cool. And every once in a while, I design my own, although I didn't design this one. I remember why I drew this on Christmas. I got this one on Christmas. I got this one for Christmas, and then I took a picture of it, and I drew it later, because I had it on my phone. I love this page. This is very possibly my favorite page in the entire sketchbook. I love the cohesive color palette. I love how everything has a similar feeling of looseness. I love how we kind of got these colors mirrored over here. I love it, and I'd love to paint these two things. I'd love to revisit these things as paintings in the future in a more finished way. I just genuinely love it. I want to take my own reference photo of lemons in a bowl and paint them. This is based off someone else's photo, so obviously I can't just paint that and sell it, but I just love this page. Favorite page in the whole sketchbook. This is my character, or two of them. So my angel and my demon, they don't have names. I never named them. They're in love. I wanted desperately to come up with something more creative for the demon, but I hated every single thing I came up with, so he's just a giant fucking snake. Not shown here is that he's also supposed to be like iridescent in the way that some snakes are. He's supposed to have sort of a rainbow sheen over him, but that's hard. And I liked the simplicity of the colors of this page. I really, really, really like the color palette of this page. I think it's great. He has no face and no eyes. I haven't decided if he can have a mouth if he wants to or not, but he definitely doesn't just have one all of the time, you know? And of course I love painting snakes, even though I haven't painted any in a finished piece yet. I should do that because it's so fun. I did this right at the end of finishing up this sketchbook. I went back and I was like, oh, I never finished this page. I painted all these squares in it because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to segment off some sketchbook pages, you know, find a layout, and then come back later and try and be creative with it. And I just never did that. So I came back and I did it right at the end, and I really, really like it. So basically I was just drawing some sea creatures from memory. After looking at this one for a long time, I was like, that's not right. And I went and I looked up what moray eels look like. Yeah, I was way off. So I fixed his face. But everything else I just painted straight on from memory, and I'm really pleased with them, especially this whale shark. I love this whale shark. I think it's great. And I like these fish. These are not actually based off of anything. I imagined them, but I think they're really cute. This is another imagination landscape. I do not love all of my imagination landscapes. I think this one is ugly. But I do love the colors, so win some, you lose some, whatever. So I was trying to come up with more ideas for the gallery show collection. Didn't end up using any of these. I was inspired by some statues I saw, so I drew some of those. I drew some more swans. Didn't use any of them, but I do like these. I'd like to come back to these, maybe do some horses in this kind of style, because I really like it. I think it's really, really pretty. This page is so messy, but there's something about it that I really, really like. This is Carbon. I wanted to draw him with just what's in my pencil bag. So at the time there was like coal erase and some neon colored pencils and a hot pink Sharpie and just the background is the only thing in here that's not from the pencil bag, and it is some ink I had. So I painted that on in the background. It looks okay. It looks kind of like him, but also So, you know, it's one of those things. This is just the card backing for the earrings I bought from Bridget. Bridget's great. She makes beautiful earrings. Color thumbnails for some painting ideas. This was an idea for my swan painting duel, so I didn't actually end up going with this color palette, but this is kind of what it looks like when I do a color thumbnail. I just paint in as close to the shapes as I feel like I need to get a feeling for the proportion and layout of the color. So we've also got Bright Spot over here, and we've got the early concept for grasping. Eventually Grasping became much more structured and pattern-based, and I added a hand that wasn't there before. I thought it really pulled the painting together. This is what I ended up going with for the colors in Duel. I went with actually a very 80s color palette. This is for an idea of a painting that I never did. I might come back to it. I do love this sort of yellow and this sort of purple together. I think they look great. I never did this painting, but I really want to. Kind of similar to Grasping, but with white flowers, probably without a hand. Working on Earthly Delights. Earthly Delights does not have any neon orange in it, although I think it looks very cool. And I redraw my thumbnails over and over in my sketchbooks sometimes, and then sometimes I draw one, I never iterate on it, and I jump straight to the final sketch. So, you know, honestly, it depends on how much pressure I have to get it right the first time. That is a big, big part of it. Working out another color palette that I really like. I don't think I actually used it for anything yet, but I do really like it. More vague ideas. This is actually one of the first things I drew in this sketchbook. It was like in the middle of starting my sketchbook with me. I had to like let the camera charge and all of that. So while I was waiting for that, I drew this, an idea I had been thinking about a lot at the time for like a merman-inspired outfit. Some sort of patterned pants to kind of feel mermaid scale-y, and then a net crocheted top or knit top to go over something, maybe with some pearls or like glass beads to look like water droplets, and then like a crinkled silk scarf to look like seaweed. Like I had this whole idea in my head. I wrote down everything. I couldn't get the idea out of my head, so I knew since I couldn't like work on it at the time, I could at least draw it. I am still very invested in the idea of making this outfit, but I have so many things on my plate. So much fabric for other projects. So many project ideas and concepts and the fabric for all those projects taking up space that I just can't work on it. I do keep my eye out for the perfect scarf, and I do have the yarn to make this top, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that this summer. We get a weird number of airplanes where I live. It drives me a little nuts. Anyway, I sketched Bright Spot again here. This is actually, I weirdly enough remember exactly where I got the idea for this flower. I was at a gallery and someone came in with a bouquet of flowers because they'd gone to a flower arranging class and it was gorgeous. So I was like, can I take a picture of your flowers? And she was like, absolutely. So I took a picture of her flowers because there were a lot of really cool ones and really cool colors that you don't normally see flowers come in. But I really liked the shape and color of this one. So I drew that here. Sewing ideas, a peacock, some fawns. I don't know if I took that photo or if I found it on the internet. I can't remember. This is inspired by some packaging, and then later I was looking through some Art Nouveau book, and I realized that that packaging I had seen for like an Apple box was inspired by an Art Nouveau wallpaper. So, what goes around comes around. I guess there's a reason that I liked that, but I sketched that here because I took a photo of it. This is from the internet. I drew him. Very handsome. This is probably from my phone because these grow around here a lot and I take a lot of photos of flowers, so I probably took that photo. I think this was inspired by some birds I saw in a photo on Pinterest, but I can't actually remember. Doesn't really matter since it's bad. This is actually from a photo I took though. I love this sketch. I want to paint this so bad. I think it's so beautiful. I'm gonna actually zoom in on this one, because I love it. Look at that. It was just, he was surrounded by grass, but he was in the perfect spot for me to get a really clear photo of him, like straight on from the side. He was looking at me, so I got this perfect symmetrical look at his face. He was surrounded by the grass, all in like mid bloom, you know, a seed or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but it's wild grass, so it's like really fluffy on the top and really beautiful. I just love this one, so I really want to turn that into a painting. I think it's beautiful. These are based on my own photos, as are these, I think so, and this, weirdly enough. No, not this one. I got this one off the internet. But this one is a photo I took of a flower in my neighborhood. These are from some rose bushes in my neighborhood. And then this is kind of funny. This is a painting I did. This is representational of a painting I did. I got a bunch of test prints done for my paintings, and this one in particular, or the one this is referencing, the test print was just really, really dark. Like, really dark. So I kind of took a photo of them next to each other so I could show my printer, like, the difference. Because all the other ones were pretty great. Like, I was like, oh, I would just like a tiny bop up in this direction, but otherwise it's great. But this one was like really dark. So I took a photo of them next to each other to show the difference between them. And so I had this tiny version of my painting and then the big version of my painting next to each other. And so I doodled that while I was looking through my photos for things to draw. A painting idea, I like this one a lot. I really like this one a lot. I like the colors. I like this a lot. I think this is from my photos too, but I'm not certain because it's so abstracted I can't actually tell if this is a photo I took of mushrooms and then drew or what. So who knows. Three-headed fawn covered in flowers. I have no idea how much of this is like my imagination or someone's like edited photo from the internet. I drew these sketches first, like a long time ago, and then much, much later I came in and I was like, this page is really empty. There's another airplane. Alright, that's 2 airplanes so far. So I sketched all these sketches a long time ago, and then I was like, this page is really, really empty. So I sketched in some pansies, and I've painted those in, and I really like this page now. It's really, really pretty. I really like these colors together for the pansies. I think it's gorgeous. I'd like to do something with this eventually. I really like it. Okay, so I showed you Carbon earlier. He's probably my only OC aside from my angel that I draw semi-regularly. But he actually comes from a story with all of these characters. They're this friend group, and I can't remember all of their names. I can't remember, I can't remember half their names, okay? I do think I captured their, general attitudes really, really well, their personalities well, even though this is not a great drawing. I really like it. It was a lot of fun because I was working on it while I was getting up, right to, the very end of working on my gallery show, so I did not have time for really any art for myself or anything. So I basically worked on this for 3 weeks. I would just come back to it and I work on it a little bit while I was waiting for something, and then I'd go work on that thing, and then I'd come back and I'd work on it a little bit. I'm just adding and adding and adding to it. So this is Carbon, this is Win, this is Leo, which is short for something that I can't remember the full length of. I can't remember their names, but I think part of that is that I decided I didn't like their names and then I never decided on anything new. But they basically all go to what's essentially an orphanage, like an orphanage / boarding school for gifted kids who are gifted in the arts. And this is their music common room, and they're having a late night Luigi Kart marathon. The only other name I can tell you is the cat's name. His name is Doppelganger because the twins, who are redheads, found him, and he's also an orange cat. They called him Doppelganger. That's where he gets his name. And then we've got some posters. We've got Dead Club City from Nothing But Thieves. We've got Electric Mayhem from the Muppets, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. We got Green Day. And then we've got some ones that are meant to look like, kind of like historical stuff, like maybe a newspaper clipping about a alumni who went on to do something cool or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't really matter because you can't read it, but I thought it was cool. I added stickers and awards and a metronome. I'm really happy with scenery design I did for this one. I think I did a pretty good job. I would have liked to have put something on the bottom shelf at least, but I forgot and then I colored it in and it was too late. I had nothing for this page. I was art blocked. It was kind of while I was working on this. So I did this because I had something I was going to go to. I had to go to, but it was one of those times where it's 2 hours before I need to leave, but I can't do anything else because I need to do something 2 hours from now. Another earring card back from Bridget. This is from a person who does really cool screen printed clothing. Not screen printed. Lino printed clothes. So they upcycle old clothes by lino printing on them, cute motifs, and they'll reuse the stamps in really cool ways. So I've got a lot of stuff by them actually. I've got a red tank top that's covered in tomatoes. I've got a tie-dye shirt that's got some goats on it. And I bought my boyfriend a blueberry purple sweatshirt covered in blueberries. I was I didn't even know that they had it. I just went in there after seeing their other stuff and I was I know that they've got something covered in blueberries. I know it in my bones. And I found it and it was perfect. And that's what I got him for Christmas. It was great. Listening to Percy Jackson or Heroes of Olympus. The Wind Spirits. I like their descriptions. I think they're fun. So I drew them while I was listening to that. Did all these sketches. I had yet more ideas for making a New Year's Eve holiday card. Apparently, I really like the concept of doing a New Year's Eve holiday card. Popping a bottle of champagne, very seductively. That's probably a bad idea, honestly. And then another one for a merman watching the fireworks. I think that's a really cute idea. And then it was just graphite, and I went in later and added cherries painted on top to kind of spice up the page, because I thought it was boring. This is based off of a photograph I took. Just some blackberry vines growing in the spring. So we've got these really tiny, delicate leaves coming in. This was when I was really art blocked, and I don't even know what to say about it. It's shiny. He's very generic. I don't think he's very imaginative. People like it anyway. Another moray eel. I just seem to like drawing them every once in a while. Yeah, don't have anything to say. It's sparkly. It's okay. It's not bad. Color swatches. Fascinating. I bought some beetle shells, some jewel beetle shells, and I was thinking about how I wanted to turn them into earrings, what my design concept would be for that. I made 2 pairs. This is one of them. You can see just how ridiculously shiny these are. I'm actually really happy with how I rendered these. I think they're really cool. I think it actually resembles the shininess of the beetle shells really well. We've got another imagination landscape, this time in graphite. I just went ham on this one. I went in really detailed, pulled out graphite techniques that I never use, and I really like this one. I think it's super, super cute. There's like a little seashell, and there's a dragonfly, and there's cattails, and a little fishing net over here, and someone in a boat over there, and a bird. All kinds of details. I really like that one. I really like that one. This was done by covering this page in paint and then dragging ink through it and letting it spread. And then later I came back and I added the fine details with a Koh-i-Noor magic pencil, and I like it. It's fun. This was actually a video that I recorded and then I threw it away because in the process of recording this video I discovered that I have seasonal allergies, and they manifest by giving me a sore throat. So as I was talking, my voice got worse and worse and worse, and it's like very normal for my voice to get tired over the course of a video, especially a video like the one now, because I don't actually talk a lot. It got really, really bad, and I was like swallowing a lot because my throat hurt. It was bad recording, low energy recording, not good. I do like the painting. Anyway, the point of this video was that I got a new set of this style of paints. I clearly have a lot of them, but I got another set. I got this set by Kuretake as opposed to Boku Undo. These are by Kuretake, and they have Sumi ink mixed into the color. And that's like, I think the newest set of this style of paints that I've heard of coming out. They're not super new, they've been out for a little while. But anyway, I got them, I filmed a video trying them out. But if you would like my quick review of them, I prefer these new ones to the Boku Undo set. These colors look almost identical, right? They are so similar. You do not need both of them at all. However, I like these ones better. The black and the color pigment are meshed together much better in these ones. The blue used is clearly ultramarine, and it is sitting on top of the black really obviously, and it just stands out a lot from these colors, and this is much, much more cohesive. So I like it a lot better. It's also easier to get it dark really quickly. It feels like with this you kind of need to layer it up more. I also feel like these ones cauliflower much worse. So that's my quick review of this. I like these ones a lot better. I actually gave these ones away. I do like this page though. It's really cute. Maybe I should get it photographed and do a print of it or something. I don't know. I always forget about this page. Okay. This is based loosely off of a house in my town that I quite like. I drew it, I gave it a wash of red over it for some reason, and then I filled it in and I was like, this looks weird and kind of boring. The red tone to everything is weird. And eventually later I came back and added the spaceship. I do think it makes the red tone of everything feel less weird and less out of place because it helps the green stand out and it helps create an ominous atmosphere. But yeah, I actually quite like this page now. Just some notes to self, some color swatches, thinking about stuff, random crap. A sewing idea that I will probably never do. And then I saw some orange beads at the bead store, and it made my brain go absolutely crazy because it was just such an intense orange. I did later go back and buy those beads, even though they were quite expensive because, I mean, they weren't that expensive, but they were quite expensive for glass beads because if you don't work with glass beads, you might not know, or you don't work with glass at all, you might not know that different colors of glass are more expensive to make. And so I think that whatever chemical or metal or element they use to color these orange glass beads to be so intensely vibrant must be quite expensive because it was a very small string of beads about this big for over $5. But they are literally the color of like radioactive orange food coloring. They are the best thing I've ever seen. I thought about it for quite a while, and then literally months later I went back and I bought them. Notes to self about what I want to do in 2026. I want to have a booth at next year's Pride Festival. We have like a maker's market at our Pride Festival, and it's awesome, and I want to be a part of that. I want to have a booth. I want to sell my little gay fairy comic, that's how I wrote it, but I'd like to finish it and be selling it by next year. And I want to sell prints, which is like, duh, but I haven't actually been like doing that yet. Thought that this space was empty, so I came back later and I drew a pigeon, and I think he's beautiful, so I wrote it down that he's beautiful. He's a beautiful pigeon. And then there was this corner, and I saw something where it was like a pink fabric with neon green lace over it, and it just looked so cool. So I tried to like kind of draw it so I wouldn't forget. These came about because I saw a photo of a French bulldog standing on its hind legs, and French bulldogs are absolutely heinously fucked up. They are a walking health nightmare. That is the third airplane I'm hearing right now. But standing on their hind legs, they look like a horrible little fairy tale goblin with a pot belly and these skinny little stick legs and these snouty, wrinkly faces. So I decided to draw them as little fairy tale hobgoblins. I took some inspiration from bats as well, because I didn't just want them to look like dogs on their hind legs, and I quite like them, actually. I think I did a good job. This is not normally what I do, but I think I did a good job. So I'll have to think of a story where I can implement them somewhere. But yeah, they smoke pipes. They say bleh. They're horrible. They have long, sticky, slobbery tongues. And then I did a little scene of them sitting around the campfire. It's not super detailed, but I like it. And I tried to kind of do a couple of different styles of tents, because I wanted them to be sort of like, I wanted them to kind of lack cohesion. Also, I gave them hats because I wanted them to be bald, but also I did not want to draw little bald heads. I really did not want to draw that. I think I've seen other fantasy something or others do that, and I like it, so I did it for them. I bought an eyeshadow palette because it was so pretty. The color palette for it was so good. I should have known better. The quality was so bad. All of the matte ones were super dry and felt terrible and don't work. But I still love the color, so I tried to color match it with my paints, and I actually think I did a perfect job. I think this is exactly right. So, you know, I still got something out of it. It was very cheap, but maybe I'll do a painting based off of this color palette at some point. That would be really fun. Okay, working through some ideas. I like these ideas quite a lot. I painted this one. I haven't done any of these other ones yet. I don't really know where I got this idea, and I don't know how I would feasibly make this work. But I like these lines and these shapes. I'm trying to... In my mind, this is like a wallpaper design, like one of those strip wallpapers, those like ornamental edge pieces, not like the big ones that cover the entire wall. And I don't know, I'll need to work on that idea because I do like it. And then this is also that. Inspired by my view out the window, I can see the bottom edge of someone else's house, and there were like dandelions growing all along it in a row right against the house, just a single layer of ones that got really tall because they weren't ever mowed. And seeing them all puffball-y, it was cool. So I got an idea from that. More ideas. I don't feel as strongly about these. I don't think they're bad. I might do these two, but I don't know about these ones. Maybe if I refine it a little bit, these could become ideas that I really like, but at the moment, yeah. Sewing idea for a thing that I don't want to wear. I just want to make it. I found a scarf, and I'm like, this would make such a cool swamp fairy skimpy dress. That's the idea. That's the concept. Do I want to wear a swamp fairy micro mini dress? No. No, I do not. But I want to make it. I have everything to make it too, so I guess I need to like slowly sew all these weird ideas I have for clothes I don't want to wear and then like sell them somehow. I think these are books I want to get. And then, yeah, notes about packaging for prints. And then I think these are notes about knitting. So yeah, everything goes in the sketchbook. Here's another imagination landscape. This one instead of pencil or pen or colored pencil, I used white gouache just to add in highlights. And I really like this one. It adds a lot of depth to the image, and it just added clouds and like the froth of the waves, and it became an ocean scene, and I think it's really, really beautiful. This one, a while back in Sketchbook 13, I made a page where I drew a gender-bent version of Elena from Fairytopia, and I drew all of the outfits, but as a like male character, right? How I think they kind of would have styled him as a guy. So I did that, and it kind of got a little nugget in my head, you know, like, okay, what if of like a men's sort of almost a capsule wardrobe with like 3 outfits inspired by the various outfits she has throughout the movies. So I have an idea for like the first one, which would be like a very simple pink suit, probably tweed, which is like the most casual suiting you can get is tweed, so like a pink tweed for that one. And then the next one would be like a suit and a waistcoat that doesn't necessarily match, or maybe an odd coat and trousers and waistcoat. And then the most formal one would be like a really fancy suit in a dark pink, a rainbow waistcoat or something like that. I don't know, I haven't figured out all the details, but this was me like doodling that out, some of those ideas. This is actually me sketching out historic. This is like an extant waistcoat that we still have from 18th century or something like that. I don't remember. But it's just so perfect for this idea because it is pink. It is a men's waistcoat from the period, but it's pink. It has this swirling pattern on it that resembles her like mark of bravery so perfectly. Like everything about it is perfect for this idea, and I've wanted to make this waistcoat since way before I had this idea, so it's in my head. I can't get rid of it. I found out about the clover lapel, which is so perfect for executing this idea. I found out about a lot of stuff about tailoring and things, and every time something was perfect I was like, oh, I need to, and then eventually, you know, I doodled it down. And I really like this idea. I don't know when I would ever execute it, but I do love it. I did a lot of sewing, and so I had a lot of scrap fabric, and I was thinking about Victorian crazy quilting. Did not make these, did not even attempt to make these, but I do think they're very cute ideas that I'd love to revisit at some point. I genuinely like them. Also, I do need like a proper project bag for my knitting, and I think this would be really, really cute. This is like inspired by sailors' ditty bags that they would carry with them onto boats, and it would hold all of their stuff. So I thought of a patchwork one with a little boat on it. I think that would be really, really cute. This page is ugly. It is very ugly. I did a sketch with pencil, it wasn't great, and then I erased it and tried to make better, still wasn't great. I put gouache over it, I figured I'd fix it later, it wasn't great. It's not good, but it doesn't matter, it's just in the sketchbook. Some swatches where I was figuring out colors, and then just thought this was really cute, and then I was cleaning up my palette, so I made all these circles where I put together different paint colors from the palette to use them instead of just like washing them off the palette. And then this, which is a color I'm deciding to call Mud, is from the bottom of my paint water jar. I've got 2 jars, one holds dirty water, one holds clean water. And the dirty jar, I don't like clean it, I dump out the water, but all of the minerals settle to the bottom and they don't really come out with the water. So I ended up with like a really thick layer of sediment at the bottom of the jar, and I was like, what if I tried to paint with it? It's actually quite pretty. It's a nice like mauvey brown with a shimmer in it. So maybe I should try making an actual painting with it at some point. And it's like staying really well. It's not transferring or anything, so it wouldn't work too badly, I don't think. Alright, there are a lot of things going on with this page. First was me kind of marking out the size and shape of my studio, because it's kind of weird and I want to rearrange it again. Might make a video about that. So that's what that was, and then I was thinking about, goddamn, one thing that would make our house a lot better is just a tiny little bump out room just for the bed. It's not in the budget, but I did kind of feel like, okay, what would be the most efficient like thing that would work? Some beading ideas. I have this idea to make UFO earrings with beads, so I haven't done it yet, but I have gotten some of the beads for it, and I'm just need a day where I feel like I can just sit down and relax and do some beading. Another idea for some beads I was trying to think of like other ideas for earrings that could kind of be a set. So I've got like a planet and a shooting star idea, and then I was like, oh, this shooting star looks like a creepy little dude, so I drew him again bigger as a creepy little dude. I wanted to explore design, something that comes up a lot in my sketchbook, less so in my art, but I'd like to do it more in my art, is wallpaper design. I love when other people do it. I love designing wallpaper motifs. I just don't tend to implement them in my finished work. But this was kind of like an exercise of like, okay, if I take a California poppy, which is a very simple flower in a color I've been wanting to work with a lot. I've been wanting to do something with really intense orange at some point. Oh my god, that is like the 6th airplane. So I was like, okay, let's draw a California poppy as a circle, as a triangle, as a different kind of triangle, a square, an oval, a diamond, just as kind of like a creativity exercise. And it was a lot of fun. I'd like to work with these again. I really like how these turned out, actually. I think I had a headache. I think that's what that is about. Don't like this page. Not much to say about it. I just think I did a sloppy job. I was not in the zone mentally to make art on camera. I was attempting to do a video and it just went. The energy was not there to paint or draw. The energy was not there to talk to the camera. So total, yeah. So we've got the sketch for like the last spread of my sketchbook. I did this guy as like a warm-up to get into it, to get into the zone for making a finished piece in my sketchbook. So I've got him, I've got swatches, and then I've got the thumbnails over here. And I did this with Sharpie. And then this is the final page of my sketchbook, which I did in a video. And I love it. Is it perfect? No. It would have improved a lot by using actual watercolor paper, but this is not a watercolor sketchbook, so it doesn't matter. I love how it turned out. I really, really do. I love the colors. I love the mixture of textures. I love everything about this page. And yeah, that's the last one. Alright, thank you so much for watching the tour of Sketchbook 16. And now that Sketchbook 16 is finished, I think it's time to start Sketchbook 17. This will be Sketchbook 17, and I wanted to show it to you right now because it is amazing. This was made for me by one of my siblings, one of my younger siblings, and they did such an incredible job. It's customized to me. It's got my little MRG going on. It's got some beautiful papers on the front and the back. They painted a snail on it, and it's made with watercolor paper. So you might think, oh, you should use it as a watercolor sketchbook, but I'm actually going to use this as my regular sketchbook. One, I use watercolor in my sketchbook all the time, so it would be great to have watercolor paper for my sketchbook, but also because I don't treat my watercolor sketchbooks well. If I devote them exclusively to watercolors, I will rip out the pages, and I do not want to rip the pages out of this. This is too precious to tear apart, so it's going to be my regular, ordinary, everyday sketchbook where I put my garbage, because then I won't tear it apart. But yeah, everyone say how awesome you think this new sketchbook is, because it's very awesome, and they bound it themselves, and it opens all the way flat, so it's gonna be super, super awesome, and I can't wait to start this with you in the next video, so stay tuned for that. If you liked this video, like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell. Comments, subscriptions, notification bell, these are all really, really great ways to help support the channel. It tells YouTube that you actually liked the video and helps share it out to more people, gets me more views, and it's a great way to support me for free. Alright, you have a great day. I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!